Good morning, everyone. I'm Bianca Antoinette Janela. My partner's name is Tiana Angela Hider. So let's tackle about food and beverage sector. Learning outcomes. At the end of this chapter, you should be able to trace the history of the food and beverage industry, describe the different types of restaurant, explain the importance of franchising to the restaurant industry, discuss restaurant profitability and calculate food cost and percentage, gross profit and average guest check, explain the role of the menu in the restaurant success, differential airline catering from restaurant catering, and discuss restaurant promotion. History of the food and beverage services. In early history, there was much evidence that certain group of people cooked together in big groups and that early inns provided a good menu. In the Roman era, there were some establishments that offered sausage or roast meat, bread, and a cup of wine. After the fall of the Roman Empire, their manors and castles provided food to large numbers of people. The early inns provided bread and wine to travelers. In 20th century, public cook shops were opened in London which offered pre-cooked take-out food. In the 16th century, British inns and taverns began to serve one meal a day at the fixed time and price and a common table. In the 7th century, the ordinaries became fashionable and gambling place as well as a center of political activities. The word restaurant was used in the late 18th century for a Paris dining room service light dishes. In the United States, taverns and inns were very similar to those in England. A famous tavern in New York was Fran's Tavern. In 1834, the famous Demonicos was opened in New York. In the early 90s, several events that were significant to the food industry occurred. The hamburger was first served in 1904 at the St. Louis World's Fair. The first root beer stand was founded by Roy Allen and Frank Wright. The Second World War brought many changes to American public. People became richer, the automobile made them more mobile, and they shipped to the suburban areas of city. In 1960s, fast food establishments emerged. As present, modern popular cuisines include French, Chinese, Mexican, Japanese, have become common in most cities. The role food place in tourism may not be a direct but indirect attraction. Type of restaurant: family or commercial restaurant. Family-style restaurant offer a wide menu of meat and potato. Selections with a price range that appeals to average family income. They serve beer and wine if they have a liquor license. The decor is bright, a combination of counters, tables, and booths is common. Parking is necessary since customers usually arrive by car. Family restaurants are normally located near a residential area and highway. Coffee shops. Coffee shops are characterized by a fast food service. The, the, the decor is simple, and prices are relatively low. It is usually located in an office building or shopping mall. Operating hours are from early morning to early evening. The rent is high, the staff are often minimal trained, the peak periods of coffee shop are lunch and coffee break. A takeout service may be offered. Cafeterias. Cafeteria are usually located in shopping centers and office buildings. Self-service is typical with limited menu of soup, entries, desserts, and beverage. Cafeterias often require a large preparation area. Their staff are minimal trained. Beer and wine may be offered. Fast service is necessary to handle the traffic volume. The operating hours will depend on the location as school, office building, airport, or highway. Gourmet restaurant. Gourmet restaurant generally require a higher initial investment than other types of restaurant because they require an expensive ambiance and decor. They cater to those who want a higher standard, are willing to pay the price. The prices are higher at the gourmet restaurants because of the high investment required. The menu and wines are carefully planned and the staff are highly trained. The evening period is the main emphasis. The location is important but may not be critical since discriminating dinners. Look for quality gourmet restaurant. Word of mouth by advertising and repeat business are keys to success. So next, ethnic restaurant. Ethnic restaurant figure the food of specific region or country. They can be Chinese or classical, French cues. The decor usually as an ethnic motif. In order to be successful, ethnic restaurant must be served authentic cues of the region or country they are featured, and those who prepare the food must be well trained and knowledgeable. Price range from budget to high. Beer, wine, liquor, may or may not be served. The initial investment is high because of the decor and staff training. The location is variable. Operating hours are in the evening. Deli shops. Deli shop provide delicacies food service combining traditional delicatessen called meat and cheese with take-out sandwich, salad, similar items. Some deli shops have limited seating capacity. They are usually located in shopping areas or office buildings. Are open from 9 o'clock a.m. to 5 o'clock p.m. or 9 o'clock p.m. Capital investment is low. Deli shops have low labor costs because only one or two owners and employees are involved. Buffet restaurant. Buffet restaurants are established on a completely self-serve basis. However, if liquor, beer, and wine are offered, table and service for this beverage provided. The food buffet is usually an all-you-can-eat hot and cold food for one price. Food preparations and service staff are kept to a minimum. Buffet restaurants cater to the family and therefore offer reasonable price. They are open from 5 o'clock to 11 o'clock. Transportation restaurant. There is natural link between transportation and food service. Several restaurants are generally found along auto and bus transportation routes. They are also found at bus, rail, and air transportations buildings as well as on transportation bicycle as train and ship. Some transportation restaurants cater to tour group, particularly bus tour groups. These restaurants can be quite profitable if the market can be maintained. They requires a special cafeteria or buffet type facility so that arrived groups can be served quickly and continue their journey. Next is franchising. Franchising restaurants are a major component of the food service industry, particularly in the fast food sector. The reasons for the popularity of franchising in the restaurant industry are very similar to those in hotel industry. Franchise are beneficial to the franchise because they provide operation training, layout and design assistant, location assistant, manager expertise, group purchasing power, and mostly the identifications of well-known brands supported by regional, national, and international advertising and promotion. Franchises develop multiple outlets within a specific geographical area. The area could be city, a state, a province, a major part of the country, or the whole country. For example, Wendy's. Franchise restaurants include fast food chains such as McDonald's, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Pizza Hut, A&W, Root Beer, and Burger King. They also include dining types of restaurants such as Wendy's, Pizza Inn, and carry-out establishments like Orange Julius. The fast food franchise is the most common. They are also franchised. These table service and fast food restaurants have spread from United States to other countries throughout the world.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So once again, I'm Tatiana Angela Hader. So this is my part dun sa report namin. So restaurant profitability. Food cost percentage is often used to measure a restaurant's marketing success. It is determined by dividing the food cost for a period, a day, for a week, or for a month, by the sales for the same period and then multiplying it by 100. For example, if the cost of food for 1 month is $40,000 and sales is $100,000, the food cost would be, so need mo i-divide yung cost for food for 1 month, which is $40,000, with multiplying it by 100, so magiging 40% siya. So yung food cost percentage daw is yung to measure a restaurant marketing success. Kung makikita mo dito kung mabenta ba for a week, for a day, for a week, or for a month yung restaurant or kahit anong food na binibenta nyo. Dito mo matitingnan kung nagtaas ba yung sales or hindi. So next is gross profit. Gross profit is the selling price of an item less its food cost. So, profit is a business mix after subtracting all the costs that are related to manufacturing and selling its product or services. You can calculate gross profit by deducting the cost of goods sold from your total sales. So, ayan. So, makikita nyo dyan, yung item number 1, yung mas mabenta. So, syempre, titingnan mo ko rin kung anong problema no item number 2, kung bakit ganun lang yung cost percentage niya and yung gross profit niya. So, next one is labor cost. Labor cost is the total of wages, benefits, and payroll taxes paid to and for all employees. So, sa labor cost, ayun nga yung dito naman ma-apply yung sales, yung daily, weekly, or monthly basis and comparing the actual cost with the standard desired ng mga employees, tapos yung mga taxes ng restaurant, syempre yung mga tax pa ng bawat restaurant is nandito sa labor cost. So, next one is food services. Figure 4 is food services structure. Okay. Next one is average guest check. It is a commonly used in metric in the restaurant industry that helps restaurant determine the value of their customer. So, dito naman makikita kung by a day, by a month, and by a week din to. Titingnan kung ano nga ba ang mas dumami ang mga tao sa month ba ng January, February, March, April, May. Ayan, dito nag-check sa average guest check. Average guest spending is calculated by dividing the total revenue received for a particular pay period, a day, a week, a month, or a year. So next one is break-even point. Is that point at which business will make neither a profit nor a loss. The operation for determining the break-even point is fixed cost and then contribution margin. So contribution margin is a average check less variable cost, and then the fixed costs are those costs that remain the same regardless of the volume of business. Examples are salaries, interest, and then insurance. Yun yung mga fixed cost kasi naka-fix na. Yun yung mga parang napagplanuhan mo na. Yan. For example, if the restaurant has an annual fixed cost of $125,000 and an average guest spending of $10, and its variable costs such as food, labor, and others is 75% of revenue or 7.50% guest serve, its break-even point is $125,000 divided by $2.50 is equals to $50,000. So, yung mga proof mo dun is the total revenue, the variable cost, the fixed cost, and yung profit. So, yan yung part ko dito sa report na to, and yung sa susunod na slide is yung kapartner ko naman nila.
Today, the menu. The menu is the basic planning document for successful restaurant. Several aspects of the restaurant operation depend on the menu. The menu contains what the restaurant offers, the range of offerings, as well as the selling price. The menu's design, design, rating, size, and colors are important. The menu also determines the equipment needed and the investment required. In general, the more extensive the menu is, the more varied the needed equipment will be. If a restaurant sells only hamburger, hot dogs, fries, soft drinks, its required equipment will be less compared to those of a restaurant with 20 or 30 menu items, which require different cooking methods and more specialist equipment. In addition, the menu is identities the labor cost of restaurant. It can determine the number of staff required and the cost of staff training for food preparation and service. The more items are contained in the menu, the more complex the service will be. Here, sample International Airlines menu. So, airline catering. Airline companies spends billions of dollars every year for food purchases. The average cost per airline passengers is between $1 and $7, depending on the length of the journey. Food quality. The main problem of airline companies is to cook the meal on the ground and serve it several hours later in extraordinary dry cabin atmosphere 7 miles high to different groups of people with their own food preference and whose main motivation is to travel rather than to eat. In 1992, airlines passengers were served a sandwich and coffee from vacuum flash on a flight from London to Paris. So, at the present, particularly on long flight passengers accept hot meals. Logistic. To produce hot milk, the airlines companies have to prepare specifications for recipe, ingredients, cooking methods, and temperature, and labor for each flight. Preliminary milk count are usually prepared from 24 to 72 hours ahead so that food supply can be bought. Last, airline gallery. The first airline gallery was designed in 1936 by Douglas for its DC-3. Meals prepared on the ground were kept hot or cold in insulated containers on the aircraft. After the World War II, the introduction of larger airplanes enabled them to have oven and refrigerator on board in their gallery.
So, dito naman tayo sa kitchen. So, the first airline flight kitchen was opened in the late 1930s near Washington, D.C. So, hindi naman basta-basta naisip lang ng mga tao na maglagay ng flight kitchen sa airplane. So, kundi meron pa rin siyang history. So, merong nangangalang Marriott. He had a restaurant near in the airport. He noticed that passengers would go to his restaurant before boarding flight because no meals were served in the airplanes. He approached Eastern Air Transport, now known as Eastern Airlines, and offered to prepare lunch boxes in his restaurant for Eastern passengers. Eastern agreed, so the first flight kitchen was established. So, ayan yung history ng flight kitchens kung bakit siya nagawa. Hindi naman nung unang palang paggawa ng airplane is naisip na nila yung flight kitchens. So, ito nga si Marriott is nagbebenta malapit dun sa airport sa restaurant niya, and napapansin niya nga yung mga tao na dinadala yung mga pagkain sa airplane. So, naisip niya yung bakit kaya hindi siya mag-offer ng mga lunchbox sa mga ititinda dun sa airplane. So, at present, Marriott in-flight services has approximately 100 flight kitchens around the world which cater to 150 different airlines and serve 100 million meals a year. So, ayan yung history ng flight kitchens. Kung bakit nga ba meron tayong bakit nga ba may sinaserve na pagkain sa atin. So, dun nagsimula yun. So, next is different between airline catering and restaurant catering. So, airline catering is different from restaurant catering because in the latter, the cooks can make last-minute adjustment in airline adjustment. So, ang pinagkaiba naman nila is, for example, a steak might be prepared in the flight kitchen to be accompanied by a sauce and vegetable to be served 2 hours later. During this time, it must be kept hot. If there is flight delay of 1 hour, the steak will be stringy, the sauce will be congealed, and the vegetables will be mushy. In an ordinary restaurant, a meal like this will not be served, but on an airline, the service crew usually has no other choice but to serve it. Kasi nga sa airline is nakapa-prepare na sila napag-prepare na nila yung pagkain ng mga pasahero, and then hindi na nila pwedeng kunyari delay nga, hindi na sila pwedeng umulit ng magluto kasi nga may schedule yung pagluluto nila. Unlike sa mga restaurant nga is hindi pwede kasi nga malapit lang naman yung pinaglulutuan nila. Doon lang naman sila mismo sa restaurant nagluluto. Yung sa airlines, di ba? Syempre, meron, nasa baba pa yon, hindi pa pwede, marami pa silang passengers na ginagawa ng food. And then, the last one is restaurant promotion. Many restaurants advertise their menu on newspaper. Several restaurants advertise in the yellow pages of the local telephone directory. Some use local radio or television stations. So, many restaurants try to foster to good relations with nearby hotel employees such as front office staff, bell desk personnel, and the doorman because they are often asked by hotel guests to recommend good nearby restaurant. So, ngayon naman is meron na sa TV, meron na sa billboard, meron na kahit saan, kahit hindi man siya technology or technology man siya, meron kang makikita ng mga restaurant promotion. So, most popular restaurant and national restaurant chains advertise in airline in-flight magazine, consumers, travel magazines, and travel trade publication. Pero ang pinaka mabisa daw na promotion, sabi nga ng iba, at sabi ng mga talagang kilalang mga restaurant owner, ang pinaka mabisang restaurant promotion is ang promote ng isang tao sa isang tao. Kasi syempre, kunyari sa kaibigan mo, nag-promote ka, and then sinabi mo na, uy, masarap dito. Dito ka kumain next time, dito kayo ng family mo next time. So, syempre, may tiwala sa iyo yung kaibigan mo at gagawin mo rin, susubukan mo rin dun sa kainan na yon kung talagang masarap. Yun. Kasi, syempre, alam mo yung tsaka lalo na kapag alam mo yung kaibigan mo na talagang sobrang choosy sa pagkain, and then nagustuhan niyo yung restaurant na yun, sure na sure kang masarap yun. So, dito sa last part is may magpapanood kayong food and beverage protocols this time of pandemic. So, ito yung pinaka-last na slide dito sa PowerPoint.
As the pandemic disrupted the food industry, it gave many food companies the opportunity to at least consider enhanced automation. Labor was the biggest problem. Workers were both getting sick and staying away out of fear of getting sick. Another big problem was flexibility in production and packaging. As demand shifted from food service to retail, especially from comfort foods and other products, many processors had a hard time keeping up. These situations naturally increased the interest of many companies in automation, especially in packaging. It often pays to go after the so-called low-hanging fruit of automation, technologies that can be implemented relatively easily and have quick return on investment. Examples include robotics, automatic guided vehicles, and automatic visual inspection. End-of-the-line packaging is an especially fruitful field for automation, according to some observers. Robotic palletizers and other equipment have the potential to bring much-needed flexibility to case and pallet loads. One of the biggest questions in production is speed versus flexibility. Generally speaking, the faster a machine runs, the harder it is to convert to another product, but robotics and other technologies have potential to change that. One of the biggest questions processors have to face, especially in planning future capital projects, is whether there will be another pandemic, and if so, whether it will require social distancing. This will be difficult to accomplish in some cases, especially in the meat and poultry sector, which saw many COVID outbreaks. Beltless conveyors are a new technology that has potential to maintain social distancing on production lines. Instead of sitting on a belt, products are borne by autonomous units that can speed up and slow down as needed. Other important emerging technologies include artificial intelligence, which can compare dozens of factors to get the cause of the problem quickly, and the Industrial Internet of Things, which allows remote equipment monitoring and maintenance. When it comes to automation, the pandemic has laid bare both the necessity and the potential.
So, ayun nga, yun yung video na pinanood namin na food and beverage protocol this time of pandemic. So, syempre, makikita niyo naman kung gaano kahirap sa food and beverage industry ang nangyari dahil sa pandemic. Pero, syempre, sabi nga nila is tiwala lang, matatapos rin tong problema na ito. So, once again, I'm Tatiana Angela Hader and my partner is Bianca Dianela. Sana marami kayong natutunan and ayan. Thank you, stay safe, and God bless.